all where I think we should be trying to do so. One of the remits is to try and win it. Without being arrogant, we're going to try and do what we can to win that. Essentially, we've got an interim post, so we've got to be as good as we possibly can be, and then impose that on our boys to be just as good as they can be. So it's the next game. It happens to be ready. It's going to be a really tough test. I imagine they're going to bring all they can down to ensure that we win the game, and we're going to have to do all we can to ensure that we are ready.
Talking of being ready, you're going to pass the microphone to your right. Ryan, welcome on board. Could you perhaps just give us an introduction to yourself and what your role will be, and of course a welcome from us to you as well.
Yeah, so thank you. So I said my name is Ryan Watts. Known Ryan for years and years and years. Been involved in football. Came up at Brentford, played in Conference South, National League and other leagues like that. And my role coming in here is to assist whatever Ryan wants to deliver, along with helping the strength and conditioning side of things and organising this as well.
Thank you very much. I think it's time for some more considered questions from the floor, if anyone has any. I can go on otherwise. There is one. Thank you very much.
Firstly, I thought it was a superb performance on Saturday. One thing I noticed was the full-backs. You seem to be allowing them to push up more. I always thought with Dev, that was to do him down, but he never wanted the full-backs to cross the halfway line. Are you expressly trying to get the full-backs to support the attacks more? Are you trying to get them to push up more, or was that just an accident?
Be honest.
Within reason, so double-edged problem. So essentially there was new faces in the dugout, and therefore the players do a little bit more than maybe they did previously, so there is that element. But I think the entire week has been all roads leading to Hornchurch. Everybody understanding the principles that we've all put in place, and then having maybe a little more flexibility to then go on and impose themselves. We went on watch Hornchurch on Tuesday. We knew just how difficult they were going to be. So the plan was essentially that to try and get our fullbacks as high as possible to just create another avenue of attack. We've got some really influential players with good technique in those positions, so utilise that where possible. I would also say that we was probably doing elements of that in our last 2 games with Devs in charge. I'm not trying to say it's all our season. We've just tried our best to improve elements of what he already had in place. We are by no means a finished article. I think we're going to be very honest here. We're also not the sexy appointment, right? But where I might not know something, Aaron's meticulous in his planning. Where we don't know something, Ryan's worked with Premier League players who knows what performance level looks like. I mean, now we've got Vaughan, who's our set piece coach, no one better that understands it than a goalkeeper coach. So together as a team, we're trying to work as collaborative together to ensure that we give the boys the best possible opportunity.
Thank you. Questions? There must be loads you want to ask. Anyone got anything? Derek?
Hi. What's the position with the scouting now that Alan Devonshire's gone? Is his son still remaining, or are you organising something different?
No, Lee's remaining. Fortunately, Lee's remaining. He's massive for us to be able to look at the squad. The squad that played on Saturday, we have got some talent, and that comes from Alan Devonshire and Lee. So to be able to keep Lee has been brilliant. We will work really closely with Lee where possible to ensure that one, the squad remains as it is, but if we can build and make improvements, then we will do so.
Thank you. Any more burning questions at the moment? Mr. Simons.
Thanks, Ryan. Are there any sort of changes you've implemented? I know you've only been around for a week in the role. Is there anything like major that you've changed?
Yeah, I think it's probably best to hear from all of us because we've all been involved in the planning. Yeah. So if we start with let Aaron discuss what some of the things we've done.
No, like Ryan alluded to earlier, we're not ripping up the playbook and changing things. We had really good foundations from what I still call gaffer, put in place for us, and I think that's really important to recognise that. As Ryan alluded to earlier, we're trying to keep the ball a little bit more. It's not to say we're going to be playing total football at the back like Barcelona, but we recognise that we want to have a bit more control in games. I think you saw early evidence of that on Saturday. So we made a little bit of changes in terms of our structure in training. in terms of how we're doing things with Ryan coming in and Liam in set pieces. We've placed a bit more emphasis on set pieces, and I think that's probably why you saw us celebrate quite heavily on Saturday, because one of them come off, even if it was an own goal. The runs and what we tried to work on were there for us all to see. So for us, we're delighted that our work on the trainer is coming off. But yeah, there's little bit of change to implementing, but like I said, we're not going to make wholesale changes overnight. It's little steps to ensure that we can really hone in and make sure the squad understand it, make sure we're all happy with it, and hopefully leads to positive results and performances.
Any more, David? Thank you.
I just want to say, wish you all well, Ryan and team, congratulations, and wish you all the best for the rest of the season. You've inherited, Deb was the longest serving manager in the National League. You've inherited a big legacy. What do you think are our chances now for the remaining of the season? What do you think our chances are maybe getting in the playoffs?
I think this conversation might look a little different if we hadn't picked up our first win on Saturday, or the performance, but we'll make sure that hopefully we're working on optimally for the games come on.
Thanks, David. Any more from you?
I'll come back.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Mr. Foster.
Ryan, you were forcing in your praise of Lee Deb and his recruitment, and you guys have all said that you've learned a lot from Alan Devonshire, which I think we could all appreciate. Bearing all that in mind, why do you think we had such a bad run prior to Deb's departure? What went wrong?
Look, before we went on the bad run, as you alluded to a minute ago, I think it was 6-7 games where we didn't win. Obviously, we're disappointed in that, and I don't think we were far away from showing the performances we are showing now. So, start with Salisbury, where we put a great performance and won 6-0. As you all know, football was a game of small margins, and I think in that period of time, I think we only lost by 1 goal in every game, apart from Leamington, which obviously we were disappointed with because we want to go as far as in cup competitions as we can. So I don't think we're far away, and as you've seen, we've changed shape recently, and I think that's benefited us in what we're doing and our players, and it seems to be working at the moment. But we're always going to look at solutions, and I'm not saying this shape's going to win us every game from now to the end of the season, but with the players and personnel we've got, it's helped. So I'm hoping that can take us forward. But I think it's just small margins, and when you lose games, confidence goes. Decision making starts coming into it, and you probably see some of our players make some poor decisions at times, and then you look to the last 3 games, decision making's been great, 3 clean sheets in a row, 11 goals. We look like a new team compared to when we were playing Leamington and Torquay and those games that we lost at home. And that's what we've got to try and do more of, and encourage those players, and that's where our job's really important, is in making sure that the players feel encouraged, feel confident, because we've got some cracking players at the team, and we really need to hone in on that and get some more positive results in terms of what we've been doing recently. Ready?
Additionally, the gaffer in his tenure was more of an attacking-minded coach, attacking-minded manager, so we would always have 4 attackers. And what that means is that maybe you're a little more vulnerable to a counter because we don't have an additional defender. What we do have now is an additional defender, but it means that we've got one less attacker. So, to make sure we counteract that, we're just going to try and keep the ball a little bit more to allow those attackers a little bit breather to get in the right positions, then to be able to be more effective. It wasn't for want of trying in those 6-7 games without winning, but at times, if you can figure out where our attacks are coming from, your position, we become nullified, and then we are suspect to then counter it. And that's what we had in that transition period. I am a defensive-minded coach. I know that's not going to be fashionable, but the only way I know how to be defensively solid is to keep the ball. So we will keep the ball for as long as we have to, while trying to create some attacking flair in order to ensure that, one, you guys are happy, but we try and stop transitions. I really hate transitions, because you can't defend against them unless you're in the right place. So the easiest way to do that is to keep the ball for as long as possible, to have people in the right place.
Aaron, you mentioned just now that we have some cracking players at the club. I'm going to ask, what's the strategy for January Josh Papula, who we're going to turn the phone off because there's surely going to be interest in him.
Look, we do have some good players, and I think that's one of the hardest things being in the Conference South. When you're in the National League, we have a bit more clout to recruit and to keep players, but at the end of the day, we've got a squad for the season. We were always looking to improve that because that's got some great players at the club, and Ryan and ourselves and Lee and Peter and John will work together to identify players that will help to improve us, because if they're not going to improve us, we don't want them. We're on a really good run now. It shows you what quality players we've got at the club, so we really don't upset that balance as well. So it's a very fine balancing act to ensure that we get the right players in to take us on and not upset what we're doing already. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're looking to do going forward. But we are looking, always.
So Hornchurch on Saturday had the misfortune of coming to a club with a managerial change. And guess what we're doing on Saturday? We're off to Hampton. Alan Dowson, we've come up against him a number of times. Who? Alan Dowson at Hampton will be taking charge for the first time. So what do we know about them? What are we expecting from Hampton? That's going to be they're going to be bang up for it, aren't they?
I'm going to ring Alan Massey tonight. He's going to tell me everything.
He was here on Saturday.
He was here on Saturday. Like with any new team that gets a manager, they want to have that new manager bounce, and it's for us to stop that, and we're confident in doing that. We can look at all the footage from his previous clubs, understand what he's going to do in terms of his formation, but the be all and end all is he's going to have the same players that were there on Tuesday when I went to watch them against Tom when they had a good result against them. So for us, it's business as usual. We'll carry on doing what we're doing. We'll respect the opponent, but we'll make sure that we understand Alan Dowson's approach and how he plays, because I know Hampton changed formation last game against Tom. He might come in and change formation again, and that's for us to do our homework and what he wants to do, and hopefully set our team up in the right manner to beat them. But we'll just business as usual, and nothing changes. We're going there to win the game of football, and hopefully continue this run and make it 4 games in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. And a local one as well, so hopefully as many of us as possible could be there. Do you have anything to add to that, Ryan?
I'll add to that, Neil, yeah. So I think someone spoke about the run of results or whether things weren't good. It's probably the first year in 8 where we've seen teams adjust their style to ensure that they stop us from being able to play. Typically in the National League, they would rock up, assume they're better than us, play the exact same way they've always done, maybe win, maybe lose. But we're seeing teams now that are sitting in the lowest block I think I've ever seen, and then saying, come and beat us, or come and break us down. That becomes harder to do, especially when you haven't had to do it for 8 or 9 years. So we're going to have to adjust accordingly to what Dallas might do in game. But in those moments where they're relying on your experienced boys, your Will de Habs, your Matt Robinsons to manage the game while we figure out a way of changing things. So it's the styles. As Saturday we were to Hornchurch top of the league, so just assume they could come to our place and play the exact same way they played, which allowed us a little more of an impetus. Hampton might show us a little more respect, and in doing so we're going to have to be braver on the ball and commit bodies a little bit more. We just got to be patient and do it.
I think it's evident on Saturday. Hornchurch played Hemel, played 4-2-3-1, played 4-2-3-1 against us till 30 minutes in, changed their shape, made it a completely different game for us, and I think that's going to happen a lot more this season. As Ryan said, teams adjusting how they would normally play to play us, and it's up for us to figure out, and our players to how we can break that down. And I think it's happened quite a few times this season, and it's not going to be the last.
My turn. Don't look scared.
I'm happy with the lead, but I was nervous.
Firstly, Ryan, you've been at the club 10 or so years now, been a very loyal servant as a player and as a number 2. From a personal point of view, I'm really glad you've got your chance. Now you find you thoroughly deserve it, and that's got nothing to do with how we won the Saturday at all. I told you that beforehand, so you deserve your chance, and I hope you take it. Don't let us down or else. Secondly, Ryan number 2 over there, welcome to the club. Really annoying you've got the same name as him, because that gets really confusing. But question for all 4 of you, which of you is the bad cop? You can't all be good cops to the players, can you?
I get told I don't smile a lot, so I'm presuming I'm probably the bad cop from what the players say to me. So I'll take that badge.
I think it'll keep fluctuating. Essentially, there are going to be boys that are going to be left out of the squad. So it's never going to be nice and right in that moment. I'm going to be the backup. But I think out of the two of us, probably Aaron's slightly angrier than I am, so it depends on where you are. I'm more of a reserve type. I don't necessarily feel like the leader has to be the one that ranks and reigns and screams and shouts. I've been captain of the club, and it's because hopefully it's just my performances lead by example. So if you respect me or us enough, I don't necessarily feel like I've got to scream in your face or shout to get a point across. So I don't necessarily have to have any bad cops, but an understanding of the reason why we're doing it. We had to leave some boys out on Saturday's game. Then they might not like that they've been left out, but the rationale of why they've been left out is the rationale. Whether they choose to accept it or not is different. But the performance levels, the goals will show that we were right in that aspect. We're probably going to get some wrong, but I'm hoping in these games we'll be able to show that probably not going to win every game, but the performance will show you guys that we're going to put all we can into it. I know that maybe that was questioned at times, but I've been there where it's been tough, and running seems harder, passing seems harder, defending seems harder, and it seems that we're not putting our best foot forward. But I'm hoping you will see that we are going to try and be as front-footed as we possibly can be. We're going to press as much as we possibly can be, and we're going to try and implement a bit of style that will get you off your seat when possible.
Any more questions?
This isn't me.
Thank you. Could have done them all at once. Thank you very much. I know that was coming. Very fair point.
Last one. Quite a few fans have been very happy that we saw Aaron talking pre-game in a video. It's quite good to hear a bit more from those sort of running the team. I think one of the challenges that's often raised is that do we get to know enough about what's going on? We're always trying to make up our own, like, oh, I think he's injured or he's coming back. In terms of openness, things like, I know you've got to manage, you don't want to give too much away, but will there be a slight change in tack, or is this just, I don't know, that's the end of my question, really.
I think we're fortunate to work in some sort of academy system where you're allowed exposure to what it might look like on a day-to-day basis. I don't see why we can't do the same now. So you've seen the start of it with Aaron's Pre. We're going to start doing some shots with the media team coming down to watch us train. We'll have some interviews with players. Those things will come out where, without giving away trade secrets, we will allow you just to see what it might look like and how we've maybe evolved over time. I think we're as open as we possibly can be. You might not like the answer you get or what you see, but we're going to be as open as possible. So within reason, you will see as much as we can possibly give you that will set you up for what Saturday night or Tuesday might look like. But I don't see why we have to be secretive about it. You can know what we can allow you to know, and the rest you have to figure out on Saturday or Tuesday.
That's good, thank you.
Brian Peters, Chance Headman you brought in. We saw a very brief glimpse of him on Saturday. What would you expect from him as a player?
Yes, part of my role at Brentford is that I'm the head of education, but also an additional coach when you might be called on. So, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago I was coaching Chance. He's a monster, he's grown significantly, but he is aerially incredibly dominant, very quick, based on the philosophy that Brentford can use his feet very, very well. So, coming into the game on Saturday, we were 4 defenders down. We weren't sure if we was going to have enough defenders for the team. So, it became evident that we needed a defender in, but not someone to just fill numbers, someone that we felt was viable, could come in and do more than just a job. He's a fantastic personality, he's also fit right into the group. Now, every single one of those defenders has got to make sure that they're performing every week because we have a number of options that we can change if we need to.
Yeah, options is a good thing. One for Thorny. Pass the microphone over to him. Set piece coach. How does that look?
Well, going forward, Saturday was a really good goal. Obviously, you said it was an own goal. I think Will touched it, so we're taking that. But no, Pino's done a lot of set piece work with us over the last few months, and we've got a few set pieces that we like to run. It'll just be continuing to do those things. We've got a great squad, like they've said, and we are aerially dominant, I think, so we can score a lot more from set pieces, whether it's corners, free kicks, all that sort of stuff. So I really want to utilise everyone that is playing to get as most out of them as possible to make sure that we're at least testing goalkeepers or keeping things alive in those areas to score as many goals as we can. And if we score more goals than the other team, then we're going to win games. Obviously, flip side, defensively, I've loved keeping 3 clean sheets these last three games, and Yordi's done really well. So defensively, we've got to be defensively sound, and I think everyone can agree that from the start of the season, where we're conceding corners, free kicks, that the last maybe half a dozen games have been a lot better at defending our box and enjoying defending your box. Put your bodies on the line, make blocks, make tackles, clear the ball properly. So I think we're going in the right direction in terms of set pieces, defensively and offensively, and hope it continues, and maybe we see some nice little routines going on at some point, but we'll keep doing what we're doing and trying to score as many goals for you as possible.
Yeah, you already made a really good save in the key time on Saturday. Any more questions from behind me at all?
Sorry, yeah, can I just add to that quickly?
Yeah, please do.
So just so you guys maybe understand the thought process behind maybe running set pieces a little bit more. So my biggest frustration is not knowing where that ball is going to come out, and therefore we can't be defensively solid. So if we run set pieces and know the trajectory of the ball and when it's going to come in and where, defensive coach can then have our units in the right areas to then land on seconds. If we can land on seconds, we can keep attacks alive a little bit more. Whereas if you just pump something in and hope, we can't then land on the second ball to then be proactive. So the idea of running and being a little more creative, it might not always come up, but it allows us then to land on the second ball and keep things alive. So you're probably hearing some of our vocab screaming out land. It's because we preempted where the ball might land, and therefore we want our boys to then be there to pick up the seconds, so we keep our positions playing in their area rather than a counter-attack. With that being said, we will chance to counter-attack on us now after I've said this, but that's the idea. So.
Good stuff. Any more thoughts from the audience before I ask some more? In terms of this division that we're in, really competitive, I feel. I can't pick a winner at the moment. Who is the team who's impressed you the most so far? Apart from us at times. Salisbury and Bath. No one's looked better than us in those games. Which teams have impressed you the most so far? Who can we... Because there's anyone who might be able to break into that top 7. I can think of one team I want to break into it, but is there anyone we should look out for who could be a hidden danger?
I think if you looked at the league table last season for Conference South, I think, was it 4 or 5 teams who won at the last day of the season?
I think it was 6.
6. So I think it shows you how competitive this league is, and I think that top 6, 7 is going to change so much from now to the end of the season. And obviously we want to be in there, and we're going to do our best we can to get in there. I think the standout team that I saw this season that we played so far was Torquay. And then I thought Chelsea played really well against us, but their league table position doesn't suggest that. So every team has their ups and downs, but they're the 2 teams that sort of stood out for me in their appearances here at York Road.
Worthing, for me, probably.
Flying, aren't they?
Yes, they are. The style of play makes it really hard, and if your units aren't where they need to be, you will come and start quite quickly. Again, the manager was at York previously, and we understand the way he plays, so he adopts the same principles, and they're very good at it. You're right, it's very different to what it looked like, 10 years ago when we was in this league.
Yeah.
A number of full-time clubs, a number of big names in this league, whereas previously it was absolutely, I suppose we weren't in the running to actually get promoted when the season that we did. So it looks very different. I know I spoke about it last year, where physically, I don't think it has ever been as competitive as it is now. In a national league, it was probably one of our USPs. We were going to be more physical than the other teams. We might play better, but physically we would dominate our positions at times. Whereas, if we're not at our best physically, that's not our USP anymore. So we have to be as strong as we can as units, and then hopefully be a little bit more dynamic in our counters and keep the ball as much as we possibly can.
I'll ask you one about your history as well. So you joined us in 2015 when Dev came back for the second time. Does the club look different now to how it did then? What was your impressions of the club if you can remember back then? You played for Braintree. I can remember they beat up and made their side under Drax early in the season. Did you get promoted with Braintree, or were you brought in afterwards?
No.
So you may have played in that game. Somebody called Sean Marks scored a couple in that match. You know, what did you think you were joining, and how's the reality 10 years later on?
So I remember I just got team of the year. Just made team of the year, so I thought that. Because when I came here, I don't know if maybe I got to see the Ryan Peters of Braintree, but the rationale behind it was that there was no need for me to move from the National League into National South at the time. But the gaffer was very clear after speaking to the chairman. He only needed 3 seasons to get us out of that division. Did it in 2. And I believe in the projects. I think when we played Tuesday night, there was many fans there. It's also guys. But what we have seen is an evolution of style, an evolution of the club. And the amount of fans that we have now is extraordinary. I speak about, we speak about being a community club, but I've never been involved in so many conversations with you guys where I felt the warmth and welcome since 2015. I suppose we question and we worry about what the reaction might be to them moving on and us being in place. I suppose it's a little bit of a worry or concern, but the moment we walked into the ground with all the conversations that we had with you guys, we very much knew we were where we needed to be and we was going to get it back into you guys, so thank you very much. I know there's going to be some ups and downs as we go along in this journey, but yeah, it never felt as welcome, I suppose, as we got the other day, so thank you.
We're all behind all of you, 100%. Any more questions from the floor? Howard, over to you, sir. Malcolm.
Yeah, right. A discussion in the supporters group has been training sessions are currently during the day, which may not allow us to sign some players who have outside jobs if we trained in the evening as we did before. Any thoughts on that?
You make a valid point. There are some players that might be more beneficial physically because they can combat the work and football commitments, but the additional day from a physical load, and this man will tell you just there, makes it a lot easier for us to try and get those numbers that we need to hit to ensure that we are viable to withstand games both Saturday and Tuesday. I think if we went back to the evenings, you might get a different caliber of player, but one, we don't become as popular to other players because they want to be as close to full time as possible. The facilities that we have at Bishop are fantastic, and we're not entirely sure we need to go backwards in order to make a step back into the league. I think we need to maintain what we have and just improve what we have at this moment in time. We have all the backing and support that we need. We don't need anything additional. The league will find us another gem if needs be, but actually we've got a lot of creative players in this team now where I don't necessarily feel like going back a training session or going back to evenings is going to solve anything. I think we need to be a little more proactive with what we have at this moment in time. And hopefully that'll be enough.
Yeah, okay, thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Malcolm. I see a hand up at the back there.
You don't need a microphone.
They're more scared what I'm going to say than you are, I think, up at the top. With Lee's continued involvement in the club, obviously, what's the relationship between the now management team and him in terms of you still ultimately ask him to decide what sort of type of player you want? How will that work? Because obviously it was easier before because it was dad and son. Or it felt easier anyway.
I mean, to a degree, I think we all still call it dad. So the dad is all about that. We've been together a long time. So therefore, the tire and the start of the player were not too far away in terms of our thinking. The Josh Papolas, the Dawsons, they get people off their seats. Those are the sort of players that work from an attacking sense. And from a defensive metric, it doesn't look too dissimilar from what we've got now. People are prepared to put their bodies on the line to ensure we don't concede a goal. So if you have a look at Lee's history in terms of finding a gem and those gems going on to other leagues, he knows exactly what he's doing. It's literally a conversation. Lee will ask us what it is that we need. We will assess what it is that we think we might need additional. We will then ask both the chairman and CEO if it's available, and if we get it over the line, we will. But I'll repeat, the squad that we have now is very good. I know there's been some peaks and drops, but when we're in a vibe, in a flow, we are very good value. I'll let you guys decide that, but I don't necessarily think we have to go and find 2 or 3 extra players. The squad is good. We could have had, maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but I thought we could have 4 or 5 goals on Saturday. So the chances are being created. Maybe we need to be a little more clinical, but I don't necessarily feel like we need to go out and get 2 more players.
I think one thing with Lee as well, on my conversations with him, he knows this league, doesn't he? Any player in the league above, and he seems to know every player. You know, you mentioned a player to him and he's heard of him and knows about it. I'm going to speak about another sort of young gem you've got in the team, a guy called Remy Clarima. What does that guy have for breakfast? Because, yeah, how old is he? On Saturday I spoke to him just before the game. Rem, how you doing? He said, I'm exhausted. My little boy's giving me the run around all day. 2 days later he's named in the National League South Team of the Week. He is unbelievable, isn't he? And your predecessor described him as his best midfielder, his best centre back and his best right back. I mean, just long live Remy Clarima, basically.
So some things that we've got to be mindful of is he's young, 36 years young, and so therefore it looks slightly different in terms of the physical makeup, and that's why Ryan's so important. I'll get Ryan to speak to you on what we might need to do from a training standpoint to ensure that he is available for every single game. But of course, he's got the Bobber League, he's got a few different things going on, and I think that's part of the reason why he's playing so well. Is he's at his fittest and most optimal, and of course Ryan's deload will allow him to stay fit. But yeah, who saw a central field maestro in Remy? The gaffer definitely saw it, was playing there for a while. Him and Rob are a bit of a partnership which both in offensive and defensive they look incredibly solid. It's not a partnership that needs to be broken up at this moment in time, especially with the performance that they're putting in. But with 36 years and all the commitments, at some point there's going to have to be a change and he's going to have to rest, and I'll be guided by Ryan and Harry. But yeah, he's playing out of his skin at this moment in time. I'll get Ryan to discuss what training might look like from a physical measure.
Yeah, before Ryan answers that, actually, you can keep the mic there, because we've also got Harry Pritchard coming back as well. It was very welcome to see him come back in. We also saw in pre-season what Harry can still offer. We all remember him from his first spell. He's evolved as a player, hasn't he? Through his time since playing for us. So he's another one you've got to consider in terms of workload and things, because in theory we'd love to see him on the pitch.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, definitely. So with Harry, the good news is he knows what he's doing as well. So it saves me. But even just on Remy today, we had a discussion, and he actually feels all the football he's playing makes him sharper with what he does on the Mondays. And then we spoke today, and he joined in the session and then just eased off towards the end. It's almost like me today. It was like coaching him in to take a rest. He's not someone who wants to take a rest. But yeah, I saw a top performance of the week, and I just explained we just need to be careful with this and that. And he's a good listener, as these guys will know. And then just going back to Harry, he's since I've come in, he's been top. And then with the load he's been doing, helping the guys with their work, I've just said to him, anything you want to pass over to me so we can get you right, then we'll do.
That's your area that you enjoy the most, then, is it? That kind of...
A crossover. So that's the area I'll work with a number of individual players, as Ryan mentioned, from grassroots to Manchester City players. That's what I'll work with them on, but equally I will work with them on their technical work and bits like that, so twofold.
Good, interesting stuff. Any more questions at all?
Mr. Peters, I think Neil asked about teams getting fresh in the playoffs, so I think he was perhaps alluding to you saying that. Right. What for you? What would constitute a success versus a failure for the rest of the season? What's your aim for the rest of this season?
So I think with what we have, I think not making the playoffs I'll be really disappointed. But also, I don't think if we provided you with value where you could turn around and say, okay, we didn't make the playoffs, but actually the style was different, or I was excited by X, Y, and Z, then as far as I'm concerned, I definitely failed. So I've been given a wealth of experience from the gaffer. I understand what it needs to look like from a defensive sense, but actually I think there's nuances to the way we play now. But I need to make sure that you guys see it and actually believe in it. So there's more for us to do. It was one game. We've got to make sure that we can do that consistently to show you that there is a slight difference in the way we play, and it will lead to more wins and more excitement. So first and foremost, it's every game as it comes and as many wins as possible to ensure that we are where we need to be to fight for those player spots. But also additionally, I want to make sure that you guys can see there is a slight difference in the way we play, and hopefully it's exciting. So the disappointment for me, I'm sure people might think differently, but if you don't make the playoffs, I'll be disappointed, but I'll be equally disappointed if you guys aren't excited about what we see.
Sounds good. Time's ticking on now, and we've all taken a lot in tonight. We've spoken about the future and the immediate future as well. Any more burning questions? Well, you can ask them on Saturday at the game at Hampton then. Any last thoughts from you guys on the panel? How can we as fans help you out other than the usual backing?
I have one, I'm sure some of you guys might have another. I spoke to the man at the back, Mr. Moeller, about the chance for maybe us all to come together and have more of these conversations. I am happy to sit here for as often as you guys need us to understand what it is that we're trying to do and the reasons why. We might not always get them right, but I don't know who needs to make them happen, but I'm happy to sit down here as long as you guys want to have these conversations now. I'm more of a closed person, I'm not the rant and rave like I said, but I'm happy to sit here and have more conversations, more dialogue where you'll maybe question why we've done something and I can give you an answer and the thought process behind it. And so that maybe we can come together and understand it. You then see snippets of training from the media team, you then see some questionnaires, some questions Q&As from some of our players. So hopefully that whole piece comes together and you understand what it is that we're trying to do. But I'm not going to shy away from sitting down and having a conversation with you guys. I'm happy to have it where possible.
A few years ago, I mean it's a good 10 years plus now, we had a season where there was player of the match presentations in here. And this was under a regime where one season we won 2 home games. So it's tough sometimes for a player to come in if results are poor, we understand that. Perhaps bringing something like that back might be a way of connecting us all. As time sort of ticks on after the game and people hang around for a beer, perhaps some sort of player Q&A in here. I'm sure it's just literally come to my head there. Don't know what you feel about that.
We're open to suggestions, and I think we've got Scott and Shay who's some fantastic work already, the media team as well as everyone else associated with the club, and we're always looking at things we can change or do to make you see more of what we do and make us feel more connected, because us together is only going to hopefully lead to success. But we're always looking for ideas, so anything you've got, like Ryan said, come and speak to us. We're always in the bar after every game. We're happy to speak to you and answer any questions you have, but ideas like that we're more than happy to take away and try and implement, and we want you to see more of what we do, and I think that's one of the biggest things you're going to see over the next couple of months. We're looking, just from an academy point of view, I've already spoken to Shay and Scott about loads of things we can be doing to show you some of the fantastic players we've got at the academy, and hopefully try and find that next Reece Smith to come through the team, because everyone loves a homegrown player. And that's something I think we're all passionate about, top to bottom. The club is finding those local players and those grassroots players from the 6 and the 7s to show them as a pathway all the way through to the first team. Because for me, I started coaching under 7 Maiden boys and girls, and now I'm here, assistant manager at Maiden. It's my local club and my hometown. So for me, there's been a pathway, and I've been very lucky to have that, and very fortunate that Gap gave an opportunity. But I want to give those opportunities to young players at 6, 7 years old all the way through as well, and that's something I'm really passionate about, and I want to continue doing.
I think you're absolutely right there actually, that what we get here, you're not going to get at Leeds or Tottenham or even Reading and Wickham, that chance to have that interaction. The chairman stood up there, he's available after a game, he's always around, everyone knows Peter, and yourselves as well, you've always put yourselves, not hidden away. And I think, speaking on behalf of everyone, I hope I'm right in doing that, that's what makes this club special, that everything, from the players coming off the pitch and the juniors getting their autographs, you're not getting that access to people at any other club locally, and it's a great thing and a really enjoyable part of a match day. Mr. Chairman, you've got your own questions to ask of the management team.
No, I was about to say, to thank everyone for coming along, and to say for the guys, thank you for being so open and honest tonight. It's been great, and I think, Ryan, you said you didn't know what the reaction would be like, taking over from Dev, who'd been here for many years, and holds a very special place in our heart. But we all knew the time to move on was right, and also the excitement with a younger, sort of more dynamic management team, and that's just what happens. And we think, delighted you got off to a winning start, and I just want to say on behalf of everyone, the goodwill is there, and we just want to wish you all the best. And we're really excited about the opportunity, and long may it continue. So I just want to say thank you, welcome. Neil, thank you for hosting, really appreciate that. If anyone's got any more questions, fine, but I thought we'd maybe just draw it to an end now. It's been a really good night. Appreciate you coming out on a Monday night, appreciate all the guys coming along. And appreciate everyone here for coming along, and thank you for coming and being so open and asking questions. This is the start of the process on the ground. New management team, it all feels quite good at the moment, so long may it continue. So we'll see you all soon anyway, so thank you.